What's going on, everybody on YouTube? Griffin here, coming back to you guys with another video. First and foremost, if you're new to the channel and joining for the first time, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button below and hitting the bell icon right beside it. That way you'll be notified every time we go live or upload another video. In today's topic, we will be talking about how to handle your price increases. And as you can see here, we're talking about, right now during high inflationary times, essentially times of just massive inflation like we've seen over the last really about 2 years now already, going on 3 years. If you turned on the news, they might be talking about inflation's going down. It's really not whatsoever. All you have to do is look around at the grocery store. We all know that prices are going up on everything. Hopefully people will vote wiser next time, but until then, we got to do what we got to do at the end of the day, right? So and then of course we're going we're in the middle of a recession as well. So we are officially in stagflationary times. So with that, we're going to have a lot of pushback, more than ever, because not only is it a time of high inflation, but also a time of recession, whenever lots of Americans are going to be looking to pull back on their spending, and all that good stuff. And then you got your pest control company, or not just us, but everybody, trying to get more money out of you. And then you have, one side of the aisle saying that it's all in the name of, evil capitalism, and it's just the rich getting richer, blah, blah, blah. And, how do we handle this at the end of the day? It's up to us how to handle this and, retain the most amount of customers possible. And, just breaking it down to them, showing that, we're human too. We're not, most of us at least, we're not, giant corporations just looking to get every dollar we can out of you, break it down to them and all of that stuff. So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. I made a little slideshow for you guys, just kind of going, my overall process of raising prices. So, first thing you'll want to do essentially is send out a mass email, text, whatever works best. Usually email tends to be what works best, especially if you do kind of monthly billing or whatever the case may be. You can put in there effective X date, prices will be increasing and all that. And what we're going to be referring to specifically is the customers that actually, give you some kind of pushback. Obviously, the ones that don't give you any pushback and don't really bring it up, it's out of sight, out of mind. Obviously, awesome. We love those customers, right? However, we're going to be talking about, the ones that are giving us pushback. So the first thing you're going to want to do, of course, is just show empathy, show that first and foremost, hey, thanks for reaching out. I value you as a customer. You've been with us for X amount of months, years, whatever the case may be. And I appreciate you, sticking with us, trusting us with your home and your service, over the X amount of months or years. And even, you might want to explain to them, different types of alternatives you might have. So say they're on, your quote unquote everything plan. They got pest control, termite, rodent, the full 9 yards. You might want to explain to them, mosquito service, all that. You might want to explain to them that, hey, you're on this plan that does cover everything. You are in an area where maybe there's not very many mosquitoes and ticks. Maybe we could go ahead and take mosquito and tick off your plan. That's going to lower your overall monthly cost by, X amount of dollars. Your price will actually go down instead of up, and you're actually be paying less than what you were paying now. And you can always add that service back on if you decide you ever need it. So, you just kind of want to think outside of the box a little bit. And again, these are with customers that are giving you pushback, not one, you're not just going up to random customers asking them if they want to take services off, of course, but you're just trying to solve the problem, which is, of course, a potential, mad customer, which, of course, leads to that next bullet point there. Do not get confrontational, even if they're getting confrontational, just be the calmest person of that conversation, and don't be getting defensive and how dare you, don't give off that persona of how dare you question me on why we're raising prices? Don't you just look around? Everyone's raising price. Don't get confrontational. Be super understanding. We all know how it is whenever we go to the grocery store or go down and get your car worked on, and we see that, man, prices are going up. This sucks. It really pisses us all off at the end of the day, rightfully so. So just show empathy at the end of the day. And that leads to, kind of like I was mentioning, what if they're getting confrontational? Like I said, first and foremost, just stay calm. Don't try to, come off as the bigger, tougher, meaner, whatever the case may be, person. If anything, maybe even try lowering your voice. Sometimes before we can even tell, we're in a yelling match with somebody, even like a spouse or a kid or, customer, whatever the case may be. Try, just paying attention to your tone, your voice level, and you may even want to try lowering your voice. Maybe not to a whisper or anything, of course, but just maybe speak slower, lower your voice, use the words, I understand, before making any point that you're going to make about why you are raising the prices and all that good stuff. Because I find a lot of times, not just with, price increases, but with any type of customer concern, if you reiterate over and over and over after every single thing that they're pointing out, hey, I understand, in their subconscious, it's resonating that, hey, he's understanding what I'm saying. He's not just jumping to, rebuke anything that I'm saying. He's literally acknowledging what I said. He's saying he understands. And, again, that validates their concerns at the end of the day. And then, like I said a little bit ago, don't escalate it. That's the worst thing you can do. You're not just asking for a cancel, but you're asking potentially for a bad review as well. Even if they do cancel, you don't want to leave a bad taste in their mouth where they're going to go spread, either a bad rep about you, be it through reviews or through people they know. You at least want to leave on good terms, worst case scenario, knowing that, they may not refer you to anybody, but at least they're not going to badmouth you either. And that leads directly right into that next point, which is, what if they're threatening, I didn't spell threatening out all the way. What if they are threatening to cancel the service altogether? So, as we mentioned, at the beginning, they have other options. This is kind of like my script, essentially. I'll be like, as we were discussing earlier, we have other options that can keep your price from going up, and we may even be able to get your price down. However, if you wish to maintain the same services you have with the same quality of service, this is what it's going to cost. Simple as that. You just have to stick to your guns. And, if some of them cancel, so be it. This past year, we did a various number of price increases. I want to say we raised the price on probably 50% of our customer base. Obviously, the ones that are very, very new, we're not raising the price on because that'd just be ridiculous at the end of the day. But out of the 50% that we did go ahead and do price increases on, we only had about 3 to 5% on the high end up canceling, which that leads to our example. We have a slide here about, let's look at the numbers. So the example we're using here, let's say you have 100 recurring customers, you're a very small company, one-man show type of scenario, and let's say you're averaging simply just $30 a month in services. So, you're on the lower end of pricing, you're probably doing quarterly or bi-monthly services for less than $100 per service, and let's say, you realize, hey, I got to raise my prices to stay in business, essentially. So you're raising them $5 a month on average, so $60 a year. And so, with that, you have now created, 100 customers times $5. That's $500 a month of new income, or $6,000 a year if you multiply it out year over year. And let's say 5% of your customer base, which adds up to about 5 customers, decide they're going to go ahead and cancel after your rate hike. So when you break the math down, it still comes out to over $4,200 a year of new income added. Now, should you be doing this every 6 months, every year, stuff like that? In my opinion, no. Some companies do raise their prices every single year. I do believe that every year you should evaluate your customer base, especially if you're a smaller company where you have the ability to look at, every I like to call it customer risk, essentially. How risky is this customer to us? Are they making us, go above and beyond, spraying around every single baseboard of the house inside out every time we come out? Or are they taking a lot of our text time, chemical, all of that stuff? Take it all into consideration. There may be some customers you do end up raising the price on every year just because, to a certain degree, you wouldn't necessarily mind if they end up canceling. And if they're willing to pay that rate increase every year, then you're willing to keep going out there and playing the pony show at the end of the day, right? But in terms of doing this, across the board, no, in my opinion, you shouldn't do this every year. I think, on average, every 2 to 3 years is a good rule of thumb, but that's just my opinion for my company. And then, of course, in times of high inflation like we're in right now, you just got to do what you got to do. I've had a couple customers who have seen 2 increases over the last year and a half. And they understand. They're like, man, I got with you way back in the beginning when you were pricing very low. Like, I completely understand. Like, and I've even had some people say that they're surprised the rate didn't go up more. So, as long as you're reasonable with this, you're not going to get very many cancels at all. Like I said, ours came out to like 3 to 5%. And even, you just work out the math at the end of the day. Where would you at least break even in terms of, hey, if we get X amount of cancels, we're still coming out on top because now we just freed up all this space for, new customers. We're not going to have to hire another tech as soon as we thought because now we've got all this open space or whatever the case may be. Of course, you don't want to go negative on that, but, say in this example here, you could have upwards of a 20%, I believe, about a 10 to 20%, 10 at the minimum, but about 20% cancel rate. So you could literally drop 20 customers and you're still going to come out on top in terms of that, new income added. You'll be at net zero essentially based on this example. So, like I said, the main thing is, just to recap everything we were talking about, you want to show empathy. We'll go back from the beginning and just kind of, reiterate it all. You're going to want to show empathy. If they're coming at you, just not necessarily furious, but just, giving you pushback on it. Just show empathy, don't get confrontational, be, the quote unquote bigger person, stay calm, maybe try tactics like lowering your voice and speaking slower, all of that kind of stuff. And ultimately, stick to your guns, offer the solutions in terms of, hey, we could do this and this instead. But ultimately, you got to stick to your guns. And then, like we said, know the math before you start sending out those price increases. To where exactly what your number is. And in my opinion, when you're doing price increases, I would not do them all at once. If you're going to raise prices, say in 2023, for example, I'd break it up into either quarters, like do it once a quarter, or do it, break it up into, I would say, 2 halves of a year at the most. But I would definitely not do it all at once, in my opinion, unless if you're just a rip the Band-Aid off type of person. Me personally, I would, break it up at least into 2 halves of the year, something like that. We did 2 halves of a year last year. And if we do any price increases this year, it'll probably be the same thing. We'll break it up into like summer and winter price increases, essentially. So I believe that is it. Yep, that is it for today's video. If you have any questions or anything whatsoever, not just in regards to this subject, but in regards to starting and growing a pest control company in general, just shout it out in the comments below. I'm always, getting notifications and trying to stay on top of that for you guys. And like I said, if you're new to the channel, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button below and hit the bell icon beside it. That way you won't miss any future live streams or videos that we do. We try to upload at least, a video or 2 a week, and then we go live, about once or twice a week, depending on, timing available and all that on my end, as I own a pest control company, of course. And speaking of which, if you're not already in our Discord group chat, there's a link. There'll be a link for that in the description box below that you can join. We talk about all sorts of things. As you can see here, I posted about the price of oil this morning, double top, so that usually means the price is going to go down further, at least in the short term. And we talk about all sorts of stuff in there. You can see stock market, financial freedom, debt-free journeys, entrepreneurship, self-improvement, Christianity, our general chat. There's something for everybody in there, not just pest control, not just stock market. If you're just looking to grow as a human and achieve the life that you and your family deserve with financial freedom and all that, I think you all would definitely like that group. And there's over 200 of us, including myself, in there. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me directly. So other than that, hopefully you guys are having a good February so far. Hopefully you're having a good year. And until next time, guys, have a good one.